If your New Year resolution is to lose fat, get more healthy, and start working out more regularly, then you should know 80% of people who signs up to the gym as part of a New Year resolution ends up quitting by January. Why do so many people fail? A huge portion fail because they go all out in the beginning, doing crazy amount of exercises, spending 2 to 3 hours for each workout, and all of that leads to them burning out. But the biggest reason to why 80% of people fail their New Year resolution is because they got no plan of action. No plan is usually why many find out later that their routine doesn't fit their schedule long term. No plan is also usually why many get unmotivated because they're not getting the results that they expected. But what about the 20% that don't quit? What's unique about them? A common denominator of the 20% that don't quit after January is that they see results early on. This keeps them motivated to keep going after January. And what's interesting is that the 80% that quit before January and the 20% that keeps going, their workout programs are about the same. If anything, the 80% that quits do more in the gym, probably why they burn out after January. But how do those 20% of people see faster result with less effort in the gym? Here's how you can lose fat faster than you'd ever expect, and more importantly, keep it off afterwards without spending any more time in the gym. There are many videos and articles out there that can help you speed up your fat loss and get better results, but they usually requires a lot of work, a lot of sacrifices and restrictions, like extreme diets or chugging on apple cider vinegar that many on the internet recommend right now. These recommendations are based on personal biases than actual science, and I want to help you lose fat and get better results without turning your life upside down. And we're going to look at what science and research actually says instead of looking at personal biases. So here's how you can get ahead of 90% of people with the same New Year resolution with 6 low efforts habits that won't disrupt your life, but that are objectively shown to work. We all know we can't out-exercise a bad diet, but what a lot of us tend to overlook is how sleep affects our appetite. Check out this study. A study from the Wisconsin Sleep Cohort Study tracked the sleep of 1,024 volunteers to see how sleeping less than 6 hours per night affected their hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain that you're full, a good hormone when you're trying to lose fat. Ghrelin, on the other hand, signals hunger, a bad hormone when you're trying to shed pounds. The results: people who slept less than 6 hours has lower level of leptin, the good hormone, and higher levels of ghrelin, the bad hormones. They also had increased BMI and a higher risk of obesity. So lack of sleep is literally making us hungrier and fatter. But here's the thing though, you can't always control when you wake up. The alarm clock is a non-negotiable. You probably have a job or responsibilities. Maybe you need to get your kids to school, or perhaps you're like me and have an annoying dog that bites your toes in the morning, demanding a walk. But here's what you can control though. When you go to bed, no more aimlessly scrolling your phone at night for the last hit of dopamine. No more just one more episode. Aim for at least 7 hours of quality sleep every night. Since we're already in the topic of not being able to out-exercise a bad diet, the next habit is intermittent fasting, or meal skipping like I personally like to call it. And this study is freaking interesting. It took 90 participants, compared the two groups. One group practiced early time-restricted eating, ETRE, with energy restriction, ER, meaning they only ate within a short time window each day, while also reducing their calorie intake. The other group was a control group with energy restriction, COM plus ER, eating all their meals within 12 hours or more, also with reduced calorie intake. What it means is that both groups were on a diet for 14 weeks and all other factors like cardiometabolic risk, food intake, physical activity, and sleep were similar between them. And the result? The group with shorter eating window consumed 215 fewer calories daily. Even though both groups were on a diet, the time-restricted eating group lost 2.3 kilograms more. The time-restricted eating group also improved their blood pressure, while the control group didn't. Also, a follow-up study of this intervention concluded that time-restricted eating is better for fat loss. I want to make this very clear. I don't think there's anything magical about fasting beyond the fact that you limit your eating window, which naturally reduces your calorie intake, but it's a fucking great way to reduce overall caloric consumption throughout the day without having to count a single damn calorie or micromanage your life. In the study, they did it 6 times a week, but you can do it 5 times a week to avoid decreasing your quality of life. And if you just skip breakfast during the weekday and let's say each breakfast is 400 calories, that is 2,000 calories per week you are creating in a deficit. I highly recommend you also to combine fasting with coffee because it helps with energy, reduces feeling lethargic while fasting in the beginning. I call this habit burn calories for fun. This randomized trial took 130 obese people, put them into 2 groups to see the effect moderate intensity exercise had on weight loss and fat loss for 12 months. Group 1 did 12 months of both diet and moderate intensity exercise. Group 2, the first 6 months, did only dieting with no exercising, but the last 6 months, they also did both diet and moderate intensity exercises. The results after 6 months. Group 1, doing both the diet and exercise, lost 33% more weight than Group 2, which only dieted during that period. That is a significant difference. The average person in the Group 1 lost 24 pounds. The results after 12 months. Group 1 doing both diet and exercise for the full 12 months still lost 21% more weight than Group 2, who only added exercise in this last 6 months. Even though Group 2 closed the gap a little bit after they started exercising, there's still a noticeable difference from Group 1 who started exercising 6 months earlier. And here's the thing, they only did moderate intensity exercises. Example of that is walking for 2.5 hours per week on the treadmill. So the key takeaway here is using your body and exercising regularly and being consistent for months, preferably years, and avoid making the mistakes of doing too much in the beginning. That's the classic beginner mistake that leads to burnout. Consistency is key, and major factor for consistency is discipline and accountability. When it comes to discipline, you want to do it regardless if it's effective for fat loss or not. If you do it because you feel like you have to do it, it drains your discipline energy bar. I got this quote from Dan Martell. It's always better to avoid the dragon than having to slay the dragon. Remember, it takes energy and effort to stay disciplined. Turn it into something that doesn't require discipline. When it comes to being accountable, consider working out with a personal trainer or a friend, but it has the same effect. It's a commitment that you made, so it makes you show up. If you want to learn the secrets to creating a routine that is sustainable, check out the link in the description because I'm giving you 30 ways you can revolutionize your fitness and fat loss in 30 days, and it's completely for free. If you think the information in this video is good, imagine what you'll get from me directly. But how effective are workouts for fat loss, you're probably wondering? Well, let's say you burn 400 calories each session. And let's say you manage to work out 3 times a week. So in a week, you'll burn 1,200
calories. That is not bad. Not bad at all. Like I've said many times, consistency is key. And one of the factors that determine consistency is discipline. So you also want to avoid making tough decisions at home. It's also better to avoid the dragon than slaying the dragon home. And when I'm saying avoiding the dragon, I'm not talking about avoiding your misses. I'm talking about avoiding having snacks at home. That's the next habit. You don't want your diet to feel like a job because it will lead to burnout. So enjoy those treats when you're out because then it doesn't feel like you're making any massive sacrifices. But I believe if you avoid having chips, ice cream, sweets at home, for most people, you avoid at least 3 bags of snacks per week. And let's say each bag of snacks is 400 calories. Avoiding 3 bags every week, that is 1,200 calories saved per week.
Have you heard about the carnivore or vegetarian diet? There's a lot of success stories about them in social media right now, but what makes them so effective? They're essentially elimination diet, which means since you're only eating one type of food, you're removing ultra-processed food, snacks, and alcohol from your previous diet. Doing that is super effective for fat loss, and losing fat lowers inflammation, boosts your testosterone, improves libido, and improves your body composition. And also, it significantly reduces the risk of developing cardiovascular diseases and cancer. But here's the thing, you don't have to go to these extremes. You don't need to eat raw testicles or nibble on jackfruit tacos. A simple and sustainable way to lose fat efficiently is to replace one meal a day with a pre-made meal from home. For example, having a homemade paleo lunch that is way healthier than an ultra-processed microwave meal during the work week. Let's say you reduce 200 calories for every lunch if the alternative is having a microwave meal. That is 200 calories times 5 days. That's 1,000 calories per week. It's a low effort, sustainable, and makes a big difference in the long run. Let me show you how effective these habits can be when they are combined. Alright, let's start with I for intermittent fasting. Just by simply skipping breakfast during the weekdays, you are creating 2,000 calories deficit every single week. Secondly, let's say you start burning calories for fun. I just call it B. And then you work out 3 times a week. Each session is about 400 calories. And then every week you're burning 1,200 calories. And then you avoid having snacks at home. That is at least another 1,200 calories for the average Joe. And also, let's say you start replacing your microwave lunch during work weeks with a paleo lunch that you made from home. That is 1,000 calories extra deficit you are creating. If you add them all up together, that is 5,400 calories every single week you are creating simply just by adding some simple habits. 1 pound of body fat is 30,500 calories. And if you create a 5,400 calories every single week, then you're potentially losing 1.5 pounds of body fat, I call it BF, every single week. It won't take you long before you reach your goals with these simple, low effort, easy habits.
This is interesting. This is a systematic review, a study that crunches the data of many studies together. As of right now, it's one of the highest levels of evidence we can find. It found out that people who weigh themselves regularly, they lose more weight and keep it off for longer. Shocking. But it's a lot more difficult to drift off course when you are keeping tabs on your progress.
So the last habit is weighing yourself every day. So you don't have to do all the habits I've just given you. Think of them like tabs open on the computer. If you don't need all the tabs open to do your job, then don't. The more tabs you have open, the faster you'll drain your battery. Plus, I don't know about you, but having a lot of tabs open on my computer just gives me anxieties. But in this case, your battery is a metaphor for your discipline bar. You're probably tired of me saying this, but consistency is key. And weighing yourself every day is just make sure that the habits you're already doing are working. If it stops working, add another habit and see the effect of it in 2 weeks. If it works, keep it up until you hit another plateau and then reintroduce another habit then.
That is why your job has KPIs, because everything that gets measured can be improved. Except for length. Damn it. Wow, 8 inches. But on a serious note, just like the people in Essex, you need to be patient with each habit. Give them a couple weeks before you can see the effect of it.
If there's one habit I would prioritize over other, it's just staying consistent with your workouts. It automatically leads to other health-seeking behaviors like eating healthier, prioritizing sleep, and drinking less. But we often underestimate how difficult it is to stay consistent. Like I said, link in the description if you want to learn the secret to creating a consistent workout routine for free. Or you can check out this video. It will also help. Thank you guys for watching this video. Stay healthy, keep thriving, and we talk soon.